Hello! If you're watching this, you are probably interested in speedrunning No One Lives Forever 1. One of the first questions you might have is, where do I get the game? We'll get to it in a moment. The first thing you should be doing when checking out a new speed game is going to speedrun.com and searching for your game. So you can see all the categories that exist, how long the runs are, and you also have guides and resources. Guides section is empty, which is why I'm recording this right now. But if you go to resources, you see all kinds of interesting links here. The one you want is Nolf Revival. This website looks kinda shady, but trust me, this is actually a legit game version and it's not gonna give your computer any viruses or anything. This is what I'm using. Alternatively, I guess you could find an old CD of this game if you're lucky, if you don't trust this website. So, after you got the game, just install it and try to play it, try to set up the controls and settings and see if it works properly for you. It might not work properly. There could be all kinds of issues. First of all, you may have problems with setting up the game controls and settings. They just won't save for you and they will revert to default values every time. If this happens, you will have to edit this file here, autoexec.cfg. You can just open it with Notepad and change all the settings here. Some of these settings are pretty self-explanatory, some are not. Just don't touch anything you don't understand. This is also where you can set up the game controls here in the end of this file. It looks a little bit confusing, but what can you do is you can Google Nolf key mapping and the second link will take you to PC Gaming Wiki. Just click on Input Settings section and read all this and it will tell you everything you need to know. And there is also this handy table of key codes that you should use in your autoexec file. Something you should consider is that you can remap quick save and quick load keys here. You cannot normally do that from the game menus, but it is allowed for the speedrun. Just keep in mind that even if you rebind these keys, they will work just fine during normal gameplay, but in the menus, your quick load button will always be F9. So this is something you should keep in mind. Another thing you can do here is you can add extra weapon keybinds. Normally you can only have weapons bound to keys from 1 to 0, but here you can add extra keys so you can have more weapons for quick access. This is also allowed for speedrunning. Here's the list of weapon IDs, so to speak. I will also link this in the video description. Another issue you may have with your game is that it's gonna run too fast and the mouse will not work properly. If this happens for you, you are going to need lithfix. Just go here, read the install instructions, and download beta 1 or beta 2 for Nolf Revival. I'm using beta 1 just because I have already it set up, and beta 2 has some extra fixes to mouse sensitivity, and I don't want to change anything, so I'm using beta 1. So after you download beta 1 or 2, just extract it into the game folder, and then you can enable it here in this advanced settings tab like this. -res lithfix, and I also have here plus windowed 1 to make the game play in the windowed mode. Windowed mode doesn't normally work in Revival. So if you want the windowed mode, you will have to use lithfix. There is another thing in the resources section which could be of interest to you. It is Modernizer. It says here, recommended for casual playthrough, and that's true, but what it also means that it is not allowed for speedrunning. If you want a speedrun, you either use a clean revival version or lithfix version. Modernizer is not allowed, it changes too much about the game. But still, it can be a useful tool even for a speedrunner, and let me show you why. So when you get the Modernizer, just unpack it into your game folder, but keep in mind that Modernizer changes your liststack.exe file. So if you want to go back to lithfix version, you may want to make a backup of your liststack.exe, or maybe just reinstall the game completely to make sure it's fit for speedrunning. So just extract everything to your game folder, overwriting everything. And the way you enable Modernizer is different. You go into Advanced, make sure to remove lithfix here, because these two things shouldn't be enabled at the same time. And then you can go into Customize and add this resource file here like this. You can also check this if you want. And you can be sure that Modernizer is working as intended if you see this menu and not the standard menu for No One Lives Forever. Let me show you why this could be useful for you. So let's just start some mission. Let's just start Misfortune in Morocco.
Intelligence. Would you like me to call out the targets for you?
That would be lovely.
First of all, Modernizer enables MP clip command, which is disabled by default in Revival version. So you can just no clip around, and you can also disable it.
On the roof to your left.
I want to go home.
Another thing Modernizer has is this command, display triggers 1. If you enable it, you can see game triggers as
Coming out the door on the nearest balcony.
these yellow boxes,
To your left.
and
The far balcony.
maybe you will be able to find something interesting in the game, maybe some new skips or interesting things. Just keep in mind that not everything is a touch trigger. Some of these triggers are just dialogue triggers or something else. Another thing I should probably mention, yes, this of course, I don't know, it just crashes every time I close the game, but such is life. Old games don't really work well. I suspect this is not the case for everyone, but that's just how it is for me. I just have to deal with it. Yes, another thing I should mention is this game has an auto-splitter. If you are playing Revival version without any additions, auto-splitter is already a part of Live Split, and you should just enable it in your splits and everything will be fine. However, if you are using lithfix, you are going to have to download this auto-splitter here and add it to your layout in Live Split in order for it to work. Make sure to disable the Revival auto-splitter in your splits, so you don't have two auto-splitters working at the same time. I think this covers pretty much everything that you need to know about setting up your game. So see you in the next video when I will actually start explaining the speedrun.